was summoned. Was he himself being unreasonable to expect him to come here in this tempest? Jim was saying it was the worst storm any of the staff could recall. The scene which met his eyes in the bedroom was far worse than he could have imagined. His beloved wife was lying in a blood-stained bed, her eyes closed in a chalk-white face, the midwife staring down at her parted legs where only the baby's feet and legs could be seen. Aware of Lord Kenilworth's horrified stare, she burst into tears. "'Tis the baby's head," she whispered. "Her poor ladyship's too tired to push no more. We need Dr. Matthews that bad. He's the only one as can save her." Lord Kenilworth slumped into a chair at the foot of the bed, his head in his hands, as he tried to come to terms with the fact that his wife, his beloved Margaret, was on the point of death, and that there was nothing he could do about it. Equally shocked, the footman, who until then had remained by the bedroom door, went over to the now weeping man and asked gently, "Do you wish me to send Jenkins to fetch Reverend Phillips, my lord?" Lord Kenilworth looked at him vaguely, and then, as his tortured brain registered the man's meaning, he nodded. He himself was not a religious man, although he did attend the village church to read the lesson on occasion as a duty, but he knew Margaret was a devout worshipper who never, as far as he knew, went to bed without saying her prayers, and insisted on even the youngest child attending church on Sundays, whatever the weather. She would want Parson Phillips to assist her into the next world. Suddenly unable to bear the sound of the midwife's sobbing and the shocking sight of his wife and unborn child, Lord Kenilworth stumbled to his feet, left the room, and staggered back down the wide staircase to the library, where he knew he would find the comfort of another drink. As he slumped down in his chair, the brandy glass safely in his hand, he told himself that he must have fallen asleep and had a terrible nightmare. That if he nodded off again, he would be woken up to hear his wife had given birth to a healthy son or daughter, and she was waiting for him to go up to her bedside and tell her she was the most wonderful, clever, and dearly loved wife a man could have. 3/4 of an hour later, his lordship was shaken into consciousness by his valet Sims. Despite his muttered protests that he wished to sleep, it finally reached his befuddled brain that his wife was literally on the point of death. Sims helped his master to his feet, and holding his arm, slowly led him upstairs and along the corridor to her ladyship's bedroom. Dr. Matthews and Reverend Phillips were both there. The doctor had removed the baby from its mother, who had not survived the ordeal, and Mrs. Baines was shaking her head as she stared down at the infant in the crib. It, too, was on the point of death, she announced in a shaky voice. Lord Kenilworth regarded her uncomprehendingly. On the other side of the crib, the parson stood looking from the baby to its father. "My lord, your wife's last wishes were that the baby should be baptized. Sadly, she departed before giving me a name. If you would—" He broke off, aware that Lord Kenilworth was not listening. He was staring at his wife's lifeless body as the doctor gently drew a sheet up over her face. There were tears pouring unheeded down his cheeks as the parson repeated his request for the dying child to be named. "Most beautiful of all the girls there," Lord Kenilworth was muttering, his words so slurred by the alcohol still in his body that they could hardly be understood. "So young, but she married me all the same. Margaret Stormont. Didn't think her father, Stormont, would let me have her." As his voice trailed into silence, the parson said for the third time, "A name, my lord. The infant is still breathing. I need a name. Your wife said—" "Should have come," Lord Kenilworth interrupted, addressing the doctor. "Should have come. Wouldn't have died." "My lord, it was impossible. The storm—" "The storm!